So start just by making yourself comfortable in your chair as best you can, without too much concern about whether it's the correct posture at the moment. As far as you can, just trying to feel that you're supported, ideally without having to lean back in the chair, but don't let your back stiffen up. So if you can be a little bit forwards, some of your weight coming into your feet, so tilt forward slightly. Just feeling the points of contact with your feet and your hips. Supported through that lower part of your body. And with your weight a little bit forwards, and the weight of your upper body has somewhere to go. There's a space to drop into that is sort of cornered, if you like, by those 4 points of feet. Rubbing your hands together, and then warmed up a little bit, tapping over your face. Nice and light, but quite rapid. Work up over your head and neck. Down one shoulder, arm. Into the other side. And then the upper part of the chest. And your belly. And your legs. I sit back, and obviously the points of contact have changed there. Your legs out in front, that means you'll drop back into the chair. Not so much weight in your feet, but all the way through hips and lower back and into your upper back supported. So again, space there to let your weight drop. To begin this process of rooting down, I think in terms of central gravity dropping or weight dropping towards the ground. Not so obvious when you're in this position, but that is a major factor in helping us to develop the stability that the postures can give us. But it also means that there's less potential for strain in, say, your chest or your belly. So you're more likely to be able to release tightness and stiffness in your body. These are all things we want to all things we want to bring into the upright postures, seated and standing. A little bit more difficult with those. So this is a good way of just familiarizing yourself with some of the characteristics of the posture that we want to carry in to those other stances. Just noticing any change in your body, noticing those areas that do sort of release more easily, and those that are maybe a bit more reluctant to let go. Just letting the attention to these details draw your thoughts into your body. So everything, mind and body, just beginning to settle into calm again. So then coming back to the upright position, and if we can begin to reproduce some of those qualities, then we begin to get a bit more space for movement. So for instance, if you can release some of the tightness in the shoulders, chest, upper back, you can then begin to turn your head a little bit so the movement has space to work in. And as we begin to become more familiar with this way that we're supported, our feet and our hips supporting us, our back supporting the front of our body, and maybe even an increasing awareness of how we're supported from within with our skeleton and the surrounding area. As we recognize those, get a bit more confident in our body's ability to support itself in this way, then there's an encouragement there to release more tightness, more stiffness within. The combination of that and the movement itself, which develops a sort of massaging quality, means that gradually the sense of movement within the body, as well as the external movement, just builds very gently. Hands in front of your shoulders and circling your elbows around. And one of the important sort of aims that we want to build, to cultivate in these arts, is this sense of the movement within the body, the flow, the energy, increasing, strengthening, becoming more fluid, more harmonious. Going forwards. When you encounter areas that feel a little bit tight, stiff, don't strain against them, but rather try and get a sense that you can flow around them, like water flowing around a rock. Comes down, just out to the sides a little bit, winding your arms around. Just recognize that there is often a temptation when we meet a barrier to sort of stiffen up, to strain against it. But try and replace that urge to sort of push through with this idea of a flow. And then go back and now, ideally, when you sit like this, you've got about 70% of your weight back in hips and buttocks, so 30% in the feet. But now, tilting the pelvis forward, so more of your weight goes into your legs. You'll have your legs get a little bit compressed by this, and then at some point they'll start to push back, they'll start to expand back. So the dropping of your weight begins a cycle of movement, a cycle of energy going down into the ground, but then an expansion and growth out of that. Then you can feel a slight downward pressure through the soles of your feet. It's important to realize that we try and drop our center of gravity, but when we come back up, we're not trying to lift the center of gravity. We're trying to do almost like a plant growing out of a seed. We're trying to leave it there, feel the rest of the body expanding. Not so much in your legs or in the chair, a little bit there, through your belly and the front of your body, in particular through your back. We also want to think about our hips. As I go forward, I don't want to lift my hips up. Imagine somebody taking hold of the top of my trousers and pulling me back. So my hips are sinking back, even as my head is going forwards. It produces in our back an extension, like a thread of elastic being pulled out, and then a contraction. So this also contributes to coming to the upright position. Eventually arriving at a point where, rather than feeling that we're having to constantly strain against the pull of gravity, which is very tiring, that we can instead find a way of being upright, really part by using gravity to pull on our hips, feeling the energy rising from the ground, so that we're upright and supported without the same degree of stiffening up that we often experience. Again, just allowing for that flow of movement. And bringing your attention to the middle part of your body, turn a little bit towards one knee. So now the majority of your weight going into that leg. And then in the other direction. And then by rolling your pelvis around gently, drawing your head and shoulders around in a small circle. And that circle made by your head shouldn't be too big. It should be able to fit in that square formed with your feet and your hips. As you get more experience in this, you may find that, say, I can turn here. By releasing, I may get a little bit further and still feel the support there. But what I don't want to do is to get to here and push my head forwards. Just letting your body find its natural, comfortable range of movement. Go back in the other direction. Then coming back to the original position and step out with one foot, put the heel down, lower the toes, press the foot into the floor. This time when you planted the foot forward, tilt forward so a little of your weight goes down, pushing the foot more in. Over, planting the foot, that was a little like push down through the leg. And then following that up with your weight moving. And then trying that movement, but alternating from one foot to another, just noticing how your weight just shifts across slightly, quite naturally. Push the foot down, you move a little bit into that side of the body. Very subtle movement in the hips and your pelvis. Okay, then good. These are all things that we want to have in the background as we go into the exercises. Obviously, a lot of the focus of attention is going to start to be on the arms and the hands, but it's good to bring ourselves back to these basics regularly. In some ways, these are the sort of the heart of the art. So let your hands drop down and once again turn them palm forwards, tilting forwards, straight forwards, and rotating. Bird forwards. I mentioned earlier that we want to try and not just improve the flow of that internal energy, but also to begin to gradually condition it, to gradually let it become stronger. And a very useful way of doing this, if it works for you, is to imagine that you're moving through water. When we do that, we're asked to, again, just to release tightness from the body, which just makes it quite hard work to move in water. And yet at the same time, we're using the body fully. One more of these. This time, leaving your hand space and palm back as you go back. Arms are left behind slightly, and then you swing through. Then forwards, and then the arms forwards. Suspicion constant. So when we begin to release that tightness in big muscles in our arms, our back, shoulders, chest, more of our body gets involved in tendon, ligament, skeletal muscle, fascia, bones themselves. We're beginning to move as one unit, both in terms of the connection between the feet up into your shoulders and down into your arms. Also, almost like from the surface of your skin to the middle of your bones. One more time going forwards. Imagine the ball behind your arm. And as you come back, just letting shoulders go back, drawing the ball into you. Rolling the ball. So there's a slight feeling of pulling through your arms. Imagine the ball is at first reluctant to move. As you go back, there'll be a lengthening through your arms, and then it will. The kind of thing that you might experience if, say, you've got a heavy shopping trolley in a supermarket and you go to pull it, and the first thing that happens is nothing, and then it begins to follow on. Lengthening through your back and spine, through your arms and your fingers, and then everything contracts. One more time. And then turn your hands palm in, draw your elbows apart, feel opening in your chest. And then that contracting, opening across your shoulders, pushing this tail inside the chest. Pigeon spaces. expanding front of your body, then contracting, trying to keep a nice, regular, steady rhythm. Wave-like flow through your body. One more time. Yeah, keeping your hands low, elbows coming out a little bit, hands palm forwards, pushing away. A bit more compact, economic than the last exercise. And once again, we begin to get a slightly stronger feeling. It's important not to think of lifting your arm. My elbows go out, it's exaggerated now. And as I go forwards, they come in, and you can see the shape of the arm that develops. Like the movement pushes your elbow forwards, and your arm naturally swings up. So if I'm here, get my arm to this, then I'm going to use my other hand. I'll simply push that forwards. Notice that the hand goes up. So the forwards movement converts into a curving movement upwards. And the push comes from your hips, your weight moving forwards. Body angling slightly more, that transfer of the weight. Always a key process. One more time. Start rolling your fingers into a hollow fist, keeping your elbows slightly in front of your hips. Have a strong rotation through your arm, up to palm up here, and then palm down at the end of the movement. But again, don't force it. You may only find that you can get your hands so far and strain to get them around. Remember that quality of movement that you want to sustain. Still your weight alternating, hips to feet. And small. When you get forwards, open your fingers, turn your hands out, wind them out, open your chest, drawing your fingers in, go back into. One more time, coming back, and then turn your hands palm down, so they're resting on the table. Turn these forwards again, let that movement, push your hands away, swinging around, coming back to the start position. And then turn the other way, so polishing the table. Again, a gentle lengthening through back and spine, and then going back to sides. Follow in each direction. and then your hands palm up, and this time, rather than alternating between feet and hips, it's a gentle push down through both, and that same lengthening through your back and spine, this time going vertically up through your body like a wave coming up underneath your arms. So still that gentle sort of pressure downwards, that feeling of your body growing out of that root. This exercise is actually called rooting down. Still a nice, steady, easygoing rhythm. Try not to rush, but don't go artificially slowly, because you'll probably end up creating new tension. One more of these. And then bottom of the movement, just rotating your arms so your fingers push out. The wild goose. Wild goose has a nice strong image to it, a bird in flight, and if it's the right image, just notice how your body responds to that image. With this or with any of the movements, the use of imagery, the targeted, skillful use of imagery in Tai Chi, one of the very important ways that we bring about changes. This idea is always of cultivating the changes, not forcing them or straining them. One more time. And as your hands drop down this time, just slightly forwards, tilt forwards, hands sliding in front of your knees, sit back into your hips and push up. Heart in the clouds. Nice sort of expansive movement without stretching to its full length. And then forwards again. And back. One more time. Now going back to first of these, rooting down, and doing these three movements in a little sequence. Don't rush the change over. Pressing down, and then rotate your arms going into the wild goose. And your hands get down to a point level with your hips, ease forward, so your arms can swing down a little bit further, that part of the back to rooting. Noting changes not just in the external movement, the imagery of the movement, but the subtle physical changes that we feel, particularly in the upper part of the body. When we can bring our awareness and our intention to these small internal changes, we discover that they're very responsive to our intentions, whether it be the memory or direct instruction or an image. Recognize that these small movements change from one exercise to another. more around in this. And build into the bigger movements. And this is how we bring our minds into the movement. Awareness, our intentionality. And change and listen your arms drop down, bring the weight of your arms hanging from the shoulders and push up on one side, expanding, contracting, and your arm come all the way down, moving your attention to the opposite arm, feeling the push up, expanding, and dragon past the stars. Now this time, bring your hands around back in, show that palm up, and again pushing up, feeling the lengthening through your back. Just a little above your head, just palms up. And then pushing out to the sides. When we're doing this, notice that my hand stays a little bit in front of the body. Resist the temptation to lean back. Likewise, when I push out side here, something like my little or middle or ring finger more in line with my ear rather than my thumb. And we keep that slightly broader, longer feeling across our backs, the thumbs of our bodies supported, maybe even hanging with the backs. It's time when you push out to the sides, once again turning in the center of your body. So you push out, turn in your hips, your waist, turn back to the front, bringing your hands back, center. And in the other direction, try not to strain in your back or your shoulders. There are 4 stages now, pushing in 4 directions. The first one is up. And then return. The middle 2 are the sideways push with a turn in one direction and then the other. And the final direction is facing forwards, the sideways. So the center of your body, when it turns, is quite significant in leading the direction that your arms move in. That's one feature of this exercise, is the significance of that center part of the body. And the way both the movement and our attention come back to that central area, hips, waist, pelvis. One more round. Extend one foot, rest it on the heel. Tilt forwards, but leaving your weight back. Sending your hands down, so they're scooping water up in your hands. And then sit back again, hips pulling you back, expanding in the front. Scooping the sea, looking at the sky. Don't go down too far, you don't want your back to stiffen up. Probably feel a very gentle stretch, a soft stretch. Your calves and your hamstrings, maybe into your back as well. And then again, a hollow fist, both hands going forwards. This time, trajectory is upwards. This is grasping the tiger's legs. So you tilt forwards. Notice how the arms stay behind and the chest opens and everything contracting in, drawing your arms around. Change over, do the same two movements on the other side, starting with fisherman castanet. Sorry, it's not fisherman castanet, it's scooping the sea. Marine reference there. Scooping the sea, looking at the sky. Expanding in the front of your body and then contracting down, feeling a very gentle expansion through your back. Don't strain for this one, it's quite a strong exercise, but notice again how your hips dropping back really help bringing you to the upright position. And then grasping the toes, feeling again those patterns of expansion and contraction within your body, wherever you happen to notice them. Now, similar to start off with polishing the table, just turn, smaller turn this time, turn to your right, swing around, drawing your right hand around in a circle, and then same thing going to the left. And we've got two circles. What we want to try and do is to let the circles overlap a little bit. So we make them a little bit smaller. Turn in, and as you turn, notice how your left hand gets drawn back. And then you turn the other way, that draws the right hand. As the hand is drawn back, the opposite hand tends to step back. This is called stirring the beans. Feeling how the center of the body becomes increasingly important in directing our arms. So rather than moving from this upper part of the body, we're moving from the lower part of the body. This is a significant change of perspective that we get with tension. So the movement is rooted in our feet, transmitted to our legs, transfer the weight, guided and directed and shaped with the center part of our body, this area, hips and waist, expressed through our upper body and arms. One more time. And once again, rubbing your hands together and tapping over your face. Over your head and neck. Down to one shoulder. And your arm. On the other side. Upper part of the chest. Your belly. And your legs, so just preparing your body to stand up after sitting for a while all day. A good idea if you can find the time to do that. And let your hands rest, push your heels up, working the muscles of your calves and thighs. And then circling your knees. And back. Standing. So the basic feel of the movement that we become accustomed to in seated exercises is something that we want to reproduce in the standing. Structurally, it's going to be different because there's no chair there. So in a sense, your legs and your feet become a little bit more important at this stage, as does your alignment with the pull of gravity. You want gravity to put your weight straight down into your legs, so not leaning forwards or backwards. Try and just keep the shoulders nice and loose and let your hips drop back a little bit. And once again, feeling that response from your legs, pushing you up, feeling your body expanding, almost filling up with a fresher energy that then once again drains away and then filling up. A lot of the movement, a lot of the energy coming from the ground through that medium of the rooting down, bringing your hands around so you're cradling the ball. And once again, little sequence, rooting down. We've done these already in the chair, of course. Change into the wild goose. And then parting the goose. One more round. Okay. Turn one foot out, step forwards, keep the feet hip width apart, stepping back the same length, and then once again transferring your weight, this time from foot to foot, trying to maintain that upright posture without straining as you do. Be very precise with the movement of your weight into your foot. This time when you go back, raise your front toes a little bit so more of your weight slips back. You'd have the front foot a little bit turned out. Push your back knee forward so your heel comes up. Still trying to maintain that upright posture. Noticing if there's a tendency to want to sort of lean with your shoulders. It's very common to do that. But think of that movement down through gravity, bringing you straight down into your foot. And then step in and push the front foot, you put your heel down, lower the toes, press in, move forwards. When you step back, it's the ball of the foot goes down first, then your heel, then the press. Take your time, planting the foot. The upright stance, the alignment with the pull of gravity combined with the dropping of your center of gravity help you to become more stable. Try that on the other side. So what will be the back foot out, step forwards with the other foot, transferring your weight, the legs fill in and empty. Remember, when the legs fill up and they get compressed, they'll start to push you back. So again, we get that glimpse of a sense of an energy of rising from the ground. As a result of that willingness to allow gravity to draw us downwards. Beginning to raise toes and heel. And stepping in. And then just a few steps through, either forwards or backwards. Give yourself time to settle each time you transfer the weight. Change direction. Yeah. Have your right foot forward. So mirror my movements. Start with your weight in the back foot. Fisherman caster net, the standing version. You'll be feeling that movement rising from the ground through your hips, through your back. Moving your weight. And your arms just flowing after the shoulders. As you go forwards this time, raise your fingers so hands are palm down, going back and turning, and then coming forwards and turning. Standing version, stirring the veins, combination of your weight moving, center turning, creating the pattern through your arms and hands. We have a horizontal circle with each hand here. This time from that forwards position, going back and turning, letting both hands swing down and then up. And then forwards again with a sort of sideways finger of eight movement. The vertical circle, two vertical circles in. And once again, movement of your weight, turning your center. And those patterns of expansion and contraction working through your body, creating the energy for your arms just to express through your weight. And your left foot forwards. Start the same way with fisherman castanet, which as always is a lovely exercise to be able to just reflect on what's going on within the body. It's very simple. And again, just aware of what's happening within the body, where and what parts of your body expand and contract as your arms swing through. Nice and smooth, nice and flowing. And then just making the change, turning, let the movement of your weight and turning your center guide your hand. So still moving from that lower part of the body, that connection. Going forwards. This time from the front leg, change into the vertical circles. Then we're going to combine this with the step in. You're going to go forwards or backwards, depending on where you've got the space. I'm going to go forwards. So I turn my front foot out. I go forwards. As my arms begin to rise up, my rear foot comes in. Go forwards. What you may find, if you've got the stability, the alignment, and the root, that you can maybe just raise your knee a little bit. If you feel terribly wobbly doing that, then it's something to work on, but don't force it. I'm going to do one more and then change direction. Now bring your feet parallel. in the right for 10, and then don't cross to the side. Still with that figure of 8 movement. Central. Weight moving, almost pulling your arms through. And then again, bringing the foot in. Planting to the side. Once again, just going forwards or backwards. Changing direction. And bringing your feet back. Lovely. So go back to your chairs. Again, you're sitting comfortably, trying to have your weight just that little bit forwards, so coming back to that original posture and its qualities. And letting your hands drop down. With the weight of your arms hanging from your shoulders. And then pushing them out, a bit like the wild goose. Wrap them around as though you're holding a ball against your chest, and then just drawing in. And again, with that feeling, just release and tightness in the body. And come down, raise tight up, return. Feeling how you get drawn back into this posture and the qualities of mind and body that we begin to learn are associated with it. Perhaps as represented by this image of the mountain. One more time. And thank you. Lovely. Thank you as always, everybody. You do ever have any questions?